Why is it that a US president had a secret train platform built deep under New York so the public would never see him? Yet an entire fleet of gold rush ships lies buried beneath the office towers of San Francisco. Welcome to 71 Hidden Tunnels and Underground Secrets Buried Beneath America, where we're digging up the wildest history this country tried to bury, like the time Japan actually carved tunnels into American soil, and a top-secret government bunker hidden under a five-star resort, right alongside the haunted tunnel legends and pirate kidnapping myths you still believe are true. We're proving which underground stories are real history and which are just buried lies, so grab a shovel and hit that subscribe button before we dig up the truth. 1. An entire mountain in Birmingham, Alabama, got eaten alive by hungry miners chasing iron ore buried inside it. Red Mountain was stuffed full of the stuff, so folks dug tunnels into it like it was a giant chocolate bar. Workers crawled inside daily, hauling out rock that became steel for half the country. The bosses got rich while the miners got lungs full of dust and very strong handshakes. When the mines closed, everyone just walked away and left the tunnels yawning in the dark. Today, bats live there, tourists peek inside, and the mountain wonders why America ate its insides. 2. Japanese soldiers grabbed shovels on Kiska Island in Alaska and dug tunnels during World War II while freezing their toes off. They burrowed into the cold volcanic rock, hiding guns, beds, and probably a whole lot of regret. The Americans showed up ready for a giant battle, stormed the island, and found absolutely nobody home. The Japanese had quietly sneaked away in the fog weeks earlier, leaving the tunnels empty. American troops nervously crept through the dripping darkness for nothing. Today, the rusty tunnels sit there on that lonely island, where the wind howls and only confused seabirds bother to visit. 3. Arizona sits right on the border, and clever drug smugglers near Nogales decided the best road was the one nobody could see. They dug tunnels under the ground, connecting Mexico to America like a sneaky underground subway for bad guys. Some tunnels had lights, rails, and little carts, which honestly is fancier than some real cities. Border agents kept finding them, tapping the floors and yelling surprise into the dirt. Smugglers kept digging new ones the second old ones got caught. It became an underground game of whack-a-mole, except the moles had shovels, schemes, and an unhealthy amount of determination underground. 4. Hot Springs, Arkansas, sits on ground that burps out steaming hot water like a giant tea kettle that never quits. Fancy folks built grand bathhouses on top and piped that thermal water through hidden tunnels beneath the street. Rich people soaked their wobbly bodies while gangsters like Al Capone slipped through secret passages to gamble and hide. The town basically ran two businesses, healthy spa days upstairs and shady criminal nonsense downstairs. Police would raid one door while crooks giggled out another. Today, tourists wander the steamy tunnels, soaking in history and probably a few ghostly gangster grudges that never checked out. 5. Thirsty folks during Prohibition turned a spooky maze of old service tunnels beneath downtown Los Angeles, California, into their secret playground. When America banned alcohol, people did not quit, they just went underground, literally. Hidden bars connected to these tunnels, letting fancy drinkers sneak in for forbidden cocktails while pretending to be saints upstairs. Bartenders poured illegal whiskey as cops marched right above their heads, totally clueless. The tunnels carried booze, gossip, and a whole lot of guilty footsteps. Today, they sit dusty and silent below the busy city where millions walk around having no idea they cross America's sneakiest happy hour. 6. A forgotten network of steam tunnels snakes under Denver, Colorado, once keeping the whole city cozy and warm. Hot steam rushed through these pipes, heating buildings while nobody upstairs thought about the hissing maze below their feet. Workers crawled down to fix leaks, sweating buckets in the boiling dark like underground pizza ovens. Over time, the city grew. People forgot, and the tunnels became dusty secrets humming below the sidewalks. Stories spread about strange noises and shadowy figures down there. Today, most Denver folks have no clue these warm old veins still wind beneath them, quietly steaming away like the city's hidden heartbeat. 7. Connecticut's Old Newgate Prison started its weird life as a copper mine before becoming America's spookiest jail. During the Revolutionary War, officials looked at the dark abandoned mine and thought, perfect place for prisoners. They tossed crooks and captured loyalists down into the wet, cold underground tunnels and called it justice. Prisoners shivered in the dripping dark, plotting escapes and probably arguing about whose turn it was to complain. A few actually clawed their way out through the mine shafts. Today, visitors climb down into that gloomy copper pit, shivering at how rough early American jail time truly was. 8. Pea Patch Island in Delaware holds Fort Delaware, a Civil War prison that trapped thousands of Confederate soldiers in soggy misery. The fort had thick walls, dark dungeons, and a lovely swampy moat full of mosquitoes the size of small birds. Captured soldiers crammed into the damp underground rooms, swatting bugs and dreaming of dry land. Guards watched from above while prisoners plotted escapes across the cold river. Some tried swimming away and met very unfriendly currents. Today, tourists ride a boat to the island, tour the gloomy dungeons, and feel grateful they were not stuck there sharing snacks with hungry mosquitoes. 9. The happiest place on Earth, Walt Disney World in Florida, hides a secret network of tunnels called the utilidors. While families ride teacups upstairs, workers zoom through these underground hallways, keeping the magic running smoothly. Costumed characters scurry down there too, so you never see Goofy strolling through Tomorrowland by mistake. The tunnels carry trash, supplies, and very tired employees on their secret commute. Disney built them so the fantasy stays unbroken above ground. Visitors walking the park have no idea an entire bustling city hums beneath their feet, where Mickey grabs lunch and nobody ruins the childhood dream upstairs. 10. An entire old city sits buried under the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, forgotten like a sandwich left in a backpack. Long ago, the city built viaducts and bridges right over the original street level to fix traffic. The old storefronts, signs, and roads got sealed below, frozen in time. For decades, they sat in the dark, gathering dust and secrets while a new Atlanta grew on top. Eventually, folks rediscovered underground Atlanta and turned it into shops and nightlife. Today, people party right where their great-grandparents once shopped, dancing over a buried slice of forgotten history. 11. Inside Hawaii's Diamond Head crater sits Fort Ruger, where the military carved tunnels right into an ancient volcano like it was no big deal. During World War II, soldiers drilled passages through the crater walls, hauling cannons and lookout stations into the rock. They figured a giant volcano made a pretty solid fortress, which honestly is hard to argue with. Soldiers climbed spiral staircases inside the mountain, scanning the ocean for enemy ships while sweating in the tropical heat. The enemy never came, so mostly they admired the view. Today, tourists hike those same tunnels, huffing up stairs and questioning their vacation life choices. 12. Up in Idaho's Silver Valley, near Wallace and Kellogg, miners dug deep tunnels chasing silver and lead like greedy underground squirrels. The mountains were stuffed with treasure, so men crawled into the dark, blasting rock and breathing dust that nobody recommended. The towns boomed, saloons filled, and everyone got rich or sick, sometimes both on the same afternoon. Miners hauled out fortunes while joking about cave-ins, which is a very nervous way to make money. Eventually, the silver ran low and the tunnels went quiet. Today, the old shafts sit abandoned, whispering tales of men who dug too greedily and too deep. 13. Beneath Chicago, Illinois, there sleeps a forgotten freight tunnel network that nobody thought about until it tried to drown the city. Built long ago to haul coal and goods under downtown, the tunnels were sealed and forgotten for decades. Then, in 1992, a clumsy crew accidentally cracked the tunnel wall under the river, and water came roaring in. Suddenly, basements across downtown flooded as billions of gallons gushed into the old maze. Office workers stared at their soggy sub-basements in total disbelief. The city scrambled, plugged the hole, and learned a soggy lesson about respecting the secrets buried beneath their fancy skyscrapers. 14. Beneath Bedford, Indiana, lie giant limestone mines so massive they look like underground cathedrals carved by very bored giants. This limestone is famous stuff, used to build the Empire State Building and a chunk of Washington landmarks. Workers sliced enormous blocks from the earth, leaving behind huge echoing caverns down in the dark. Today, some abandoned mines sit flooded and silent, while explorers sneak in to gawk at the towering stone walls. Folks in Bedford proudly brag, "Their rock holds up half of America's famous buildings." Meanwhile, the empty mines just sit there, quietly missing the giants who once carved them. 15. Under Fort Dodge, Iowa, hide old gypsum mines where workers dug out the soft white rock used to make wallboard and plaster. Gypsum is the boring hero behind every wall in your house, and Fort Dodge had tons of it buried below. Miners tunneled into the earth, hauling out the chalky stuff while coating themselves in pale dust like confused ghosts. The town built a whole industry on this powdery treasure nobody thinks about. Eventually, the mines emptied and got abandoned to the dark. Today, those forgotten gypsum tunnels rest beneath Iowa, quietly reminding folks that even plain old drywall has a sneaky underground history. 16. In Greensburg, Kansas, sits the Big Well, the world's largest hand-dug well, which is basically a giant hole townsfolk were weirdly proud of. Back in the day, people grabbed shovels and dug straight down to reach fresh water, going way deeper than common sense suggested. They lined the enormous pit with stone and bragged about it forever after. Visitors climbed down into the cool, damp depths just to say they did. A tornado later flattened the town, but the stubborn Big Well survived. Today, tourists still descend into the giant hole, peering up at the sky and admiring humanity's commitment to digging absurdly deep. 17. Beneath Kentucky lies Mammoth Cave, the longest cave system on the planet, with forgotten passageways twisting on for hundreds of dark miles. Early explorers wandered in with flickering lanterns, mapping tunnels that seemed to never, ever end. Some passages were so old that ancient people had explored them thousands of years before tourists showed up with cameras. Guides led nervous visitors through tight squeezes and giant chambers, occasionally getting hilariously lost. The cave hid underground rivers, blind fish, and plenty of spooky silence. Today, people still discover new passages, proving Mammoth Cave is basically Earth's enormous, never-ending underground mystery that refuses to fully reveal itself. 18. Under New Orleans, Louisiana, hides a sneaky network of drainage tunnels and screw pumps built to keep the swampy city from turning into a giant bathtub. The city sits below sea level, so water constantly tries to move in and stay forever. Clever engineers built massive spinning pumps to shove the water out before everyone floats away. These pumps roar underground, fighting rain and rivers like tireless mechanical heroes. When they fail, the streets quickly become soggy canals full of regret. Today, the hidden pumps keep grinding away beneath the partying city, quietly battling water so folks upstairs can keep dancing and forgetting. 19. On the Penobscot River in Maine stands Fort Knox, a granite giant stuffed with dark underground passages built to scare off invaders who never bothered showing up. Soldiers carved tunnels and cannon rooms into the cold stone, ready for a big dramatic battle. They waited, polished their cannons, and waited some more, growing increasingly bored. No enemy fleet ever sailed in, so mostly the fort just stood there looking tough. Today, visitors wander the spooky granite tunnels with flashlights, jumping at echoes and whispering about ghosts. The fort that never fought a battle now mostly battles tourists who forgot to bring a light. 20. Beneath Westminster Hall in Baltimore, Maryland, lie creepy catacombs near the grave of spooky writer Edgar Allan Poe himself. The old burial ground holds tombs and underground vaults where the famous master of horror rests in fittingly gloomy style. For years, a mysterious stranger visited Poe's grave at night, leaving roses and brandy like the world's most dramatic fan. Folks gathered to spy on the shadowy visitor, who eventually stopped showing up. Today, people tour the eerie catacombs, shivering beneath the very place that inspired centuries of nightmares. Poe would probably love that his grave became a perfectly creepy tourist attraction. 21. Right under Boston's Old North Church in Massachusetts, hide creepy burial crypts where hundreds of long-dead folks rest below the praying churchgoers. This is the famous church from Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, where lanterns warned that the British were coming. While the upstairs got all the glory, the basement quietly filled with bodies nobody mentioned at Sunday service. Folks were tucked into stone vaults for centuries, peacefully napping beneath the hymns. Today, brave visitors tour the underground tombs, tiptoeing past the silent residents. Worshippers above sang loudly for ages, blissfully unaware they were basically standing on a very crowded underground sleepover. 22. Michigan's Quincy mine plunged so deep, that men chased copper farther into the earth than seems remotely reasonable. The shafts dropped thousands of feet down, so miners rode rickety carts into the crushing dark to dig the red metal. They hauled out copper that wired up America while sweating in tunnels hotter than a summer barbecue. Cave-ins, floods, and exhaustion made the job a daily gamble nobody enjoyed. Eventually, the mine closed and the deep shafts filled with cold, silent water. Today, tourists ride down into the upper tunnels, peering into a pit so deep, it honestly feels rude to look. 23. Gangsters absolutely adored the Wabasha Street Caves in St. Paul, Minnesota, back in the wild old days of crime and chaos. Folks carved these sandstone tunnels into the soft rock, first growing mushrooms, then turning them into a fancy nightclub. During Prohibition, mobsters slipped inside to drink, gamble, and occasionally shoot each other over silly disagreements. Legend says a few unlucky gangsters got bumped off right there in the caves, leaving ghostly grudges behind. Today, people host parties and tours in the same spooky tunnels. Dancers boogie where mobsters once schemed, hopefully avoiding the cranky ghosts who never finished their card game. 24. Terrified townsfolk in Vicksburg, Mississippi, dug caves into the hillsides to hide from constant cannon fire raining down during the Civil War siege. Soldiers bombarded the city day and night, so families burrowed underground into a maze nicknamed Prairie Dog Town. Inside, folks ate, slept, and prayed while explosions rattled the dirt above their heads. They decorated their dirt holes with furniture and rugs, trying to feel civilized while basically living like nervous moles. Some caves collapsed, adding to the misery. Eventually, the city surrendered, and the exhausted cave dwellers crawled back into daylight, very ready to never live underground again. 25. An entire underground city of warehouses sprawls inside a former limestone mine in Springfield, Missouri, and it is weirdly busy down there. After miners dug out the limestone, clever businesses moved into the cool, cavernous space to store and ship goods. Trucks actually drive deep underground, rumbling through tunnels past offices and loading docks like an upside-down industrial park. The steady temperature keeps everything cool without much effort, which the businesses absolutely love. Workers spend whole days underground, occasionally forgetting what weather feels like. Today, the Springfield Underground hums along below the city, a hidden, bustling world most folks never even knew existed. 26. Montana's Lewis and Clark Caverns carry a fancy name from two famous explorers who somehow never actually visited them. The caves are stuffed with dazzling rock formations, dripping stalactites, and chambers that look like a fantasy movie set. Early visitors crawled and squeezed through tight passages by candlelight, gasping at the underground beauty. Eventually, folks built proper trails so tourists could ooh and ah without losing a knee. Bats also call the caverns home, hanging around and judging the visitors. Today, people tour the glittering depths, learning that Lewis and Clark got the credit for a cave they never even saw. 27. Wild legends about outlaws, gangs, and secret meetings swirl around Robbers Cave, the hand-dug sandstone tunnels below Lincoln, Nebraska. Folks carved these soft rock passages long ago, using them for storing beer, growing mushrooms, and supposedly hiding criminals. Stories claim famous outlaws like Jesse James once lurked in the cool tunnels, though history just shrugs at that one. People also whispered about secret societies holding spooky ceremonies underground. Whatever the truth, the caves built up a deliciously shady reputation. Today, visitors explore the carved tunnels, squinting at old graffiti and imagining outlaws plotting in the shadows, even if most was exaggerated nonsense. 28. One stubborn man dug an enormous passage called the Sutro Tunnel to drain the flooded, scorching mines below Virginia City, Nevada. Miners chasing silver in the Comstock lode kept hitting boiling underground water and air so hot it nearly cooked them alive. Adolf Sutro decided to fix this by digging a giant drainage tunnel miles long, which everyone said was crazy. He dug anyway for years, proving the doubters delightfully wrong. The tunnel drained the mines and made him rich and smug. Today, the old tunnel sits mostly forgotten, a monument to one man's stubborn refusal to let a little boiling water win. 29. You can actually walk straight through a carved-out mountain at Ruggles Mine in Grafton, New Hampshire, an old mica and feldspar operation. Workers blasted and dug into the rock, hauling out shiny minerals used in everything from paint to fancy gadgets. They left behind dramatic arch tunnels and open caverns glittering with leftover crystals. Rockhounds went wild here, hammering away to collect sparkly souvenirs straight from the walls. The mine became a quirky tourist spot perched high on a mountain. Today, visitors wander the spooky passages, pocketing shiny rocks and pretending they are brave explorers instead of slightly sweaty weekend tourists. 30. Cold War soldiers near Sandy Hook, New Jersey, guarded hidden Nike missile bunkers built to blast Soviet bombers out of the sky over New York City. During the tense nuclear standoff, troops stashed missiles in underground silos, ready to launch at any scary blip on the radar. They sat nervously for years, guarding the city while praying they would never actually push the big button. The bombers never came, so mostly the soldiers waited, fidgeted, and drank a lot of coffee. Eventually, the bunkers closed and rusted away. Today, the abandoned silos sit quietly, leftover relics of when everyone nervously watched the sky. 31. Right next to famous Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico, hides Lechuguilla Cave, a secret off-limits wonderland that almost nobody gets to enter. For years, people thought it was just a boring little hole, until explorers squeezed through and discovered miles of jaw-dropping crystal chambers. The cave turned out so delicate and rare that officials slammed the door shut to regular tourists forever. Only a few lucky scientists get to crawl inside its sparkling depths. Everyone else just stares jealously from outside, imagining the glittering rooms below. Today, it sits sealed and protected, the underground treasure America found and immediately decided nobody could touch. 32. Hidden deep below busy Grand Central Terminal in New York lurks a secret sub-basement called M42, so secret it never appeared on any map. During World War II, this room powered the entire station, and soldiers guarded it with orders to shoot any saboteur on sight. Legend says enemy spies plotted to wreck it and shut down troop trains, but they got caught first. Commuters above rushed for trains, totally clueless about the guarded secret humming below their shoes. There is even a hidden platform for secret VIP arrivals. Today, the spooky sub-basement remains mostly off-limits, quietly guarding its dramatic wartime secrets. 33. America's very first gold rush kicked off at Reed Gold Mine in North Carolina, long before California stole all the glory. It started when a kid found a giant shiny rock in a creek, and his family used it as a doorstop for years, clueless. Eventually, someone realized the 17-pound chunk was solid gold, and the whole region went absolutely bonkers. Folks dug frantic tunnels chasing more treasure, dreaming of instant riches. Some struck it lucky while most just got muddy and broke. Today, visitors tour the old mine tunnels, panning for gold and laughing at the family who used a fortune to hold a door. 34. Out in the lonely North Dakota plains sits Oscar Zero, a Cold War missile launch control bunker where two officers waited underground to possibly end the world. They lived deep below, surrounded by blinking switches and a terrifying pair of keys that could fire nuclear missiles. Their job was sitting, watching, and praying the dreaded launch order never came crackling through. Day after boring day, they ate snacks, played cards, and stared at the doomsday console. Thankfully, the keys never turned for real. Today, tourists climb down into the chilling bunker, peering at the buttons that once held the entire planet's fate hostage. 35. Cincinnati, Ohio, holds the embarrassing skeleton of a subway it started building, and then just gave up on entirely. Workers dug miles of tunnels under the city, dreaming of speedy underground trains for everyone. Then money ran out, plans fell apart, and the whole project quietly died half-finished. The empty tunnels just sat there, dark and useless, like the world's most expensive abandoned hallway. For decades, the city pretended not to notice its buried mistake. Today, the ghostly unfinished subway remains beneath the streets, occasionally toured by curious folks who marvel at the giant transit dream Cincinnati paid for and never, ever rode. 36. Office workers in downtown Oklahoma City scurry through a hidden pedestrian world called the Concourse, a tunnel system that lets them dodge brutal weather completely. A rich oil man built it so people could shuffle between buildings without melting in summer or freezing in winter. The tunnels connect shops, offices, and lunch spots in one weatherproof underground maze. Workers zip through during storms, smugly dry while outsiders get soaked. Each section was once painted different colors so confused folks could find their way. Today, the quirky underground network still hums with commuters, proving Oklahomans would rather walk underground than face their own dramatic, unpredictable sky. 37. Portland, Oregon, hides the infamous Shanghai tunnels, where legend says unlucky men got kidnapped and sold onto ships against their will. Stories claim sailors and drinkers wandered into basement bars, got knocked out cold, and woke up trapped on a departing ship. These tunnels supposedly moved the captured victims secretly from saloons down to the waiting waterfront. Whether every spooky tale is true gets argued endlessly by historians. Either way, the dark passages built a deliciously creepy reputation. Today, ghost tours lead nervous visitors through the gloomy tunnels, where guides spin chilling stories and everyone double-checks they will definitely be walking back out alive. 38. When two old turnpike tunnels in Pennsylvania got abandoned, the state basically left a creepy highway to nowhere just sitting in the mountains. Sidling Hill and Rays. Hill tunnels were once part of the busy turnpike, until a newer route left them jobless. The road got sealed, the lights went dark, and the tunnels became eerie concrete caves stretching into blackness. Bikers and hikers now wander the cracked, graffiti-covered passages, flashlights bobbing nervously. Inside, the silence feels heavy, and the darkness feels personal. Today, this abandoned stretch sits forgotten, a ghostly reminder that even giant highways can get tossed aside and left to rot. 39. The fanciest mansion in Newport, Rhode Island, called the Breakers, hides a secret it would rather guests not think about. A massive boiler room buried far from the house. The super-rich Vanderbilt family wanted heat without the ugly furnace ruining their gorgeous palace. So they hid the roaring boiler underground, connected by a secret tunnel, so servants could shovel coal out of sight. Wealthy guests sipped tea upstairs while workers sweated in the hidden furnace below. The mansion stayed beautiful, the labor stayed invisible. Today, visitors tour the secret tunnel and boiler, finally seeing the sweaty underground machine that kept the glamorous rich folks toasty. 40. Charleston, South Carolina, hides a grim old jail called the Provost Dungeon beneath its historic exchange building, where pirates and rebels once rotted in misery. British soldiers tossed prisoners down into the damp, dark cellar, including captured pirates awaiting a date with the hangman. Patriots plotting against the crown also got locked in the gloomy underground rooms. Inside, prisoners shivered, schemed, and listened to the eerie groans of the old building. Some never made it back into sunlight. Today, tourists tour the spooky dungeon, gawking at the dim cells and feeling grateful. Their worst problem is finding decent parking instead of dodging the gallows. 41. The deepest science lab in America sits a mile underground inside the old Homestake gold mine in South Dakota, which is a wonderfully weird career change for a whole. Miners once pulled fortunes in gold from these tunnels, until the mine closed and the diggers walked away. Then, scientists looked at the empty pit and thought, perfect spot to hunt invisible space particles. Now, researchers ride down into the deep darkness, studying mysterious bits of the universe far from surface noise. The gold is gone, but brainy folks still descend daily. Today, the same tunnels that made men rich quietly chase the secrets of everything. 42. America's largest underground lake hides inside a cave near Sweetwater, Tennessee, and folks just call it the Lost Sea. Deep below the hills, a giant body of water sits in the dark, stuffed with chunky rainbow trout that have nowhere better to be. Long ago, explorers stumbled into the cave and found this enormous mysterious lake, totally stunned. Even today, divers keep swimming farther without ever finding the full edge of it. Visitors now ride glass-bottom boats across the eerie underground water, gawking at the fat fish below. The Lost Sea stays calm, dark, and weirdly proud of being impossible to fully measure. 43. Massive flood diversion tunnels snake beneath downtown San Antonio, Texas, secretly saving the city from turning into a giant swimming pool every storm. The river running through town loved to overflow and drown the streets, so engineers got clever. They bored enormous tunnels deep underground to swallow the extra water and whisk it safely away. When heavy rains hit, the tunnels gulped the flood while folks upstairs stayed dry and oblivious. It is basically a giant hidden drainpipe with a heroic side job. Today, the famous Riverwalk stays charming and dry, thanks to the silent underground monster quietly eating every flood that dares show up. 44. The Mormon Church bored a giant vault deep into a Utah mountain near Salt Lake City to protect billions of family history records from basically anything. The Granite Mountain Records Vault sits behind massive doors built to survive disasters, storing genealogy files about millions of people. Workers cut deep into solid rock, creating a fortress for paperwork that would make a dragon jealous. The idea was that no fire, flood, or chaos could ever erase humanity's family trees. Researchers visit to dig through ancestor records stored in the mountain. Today, the vault guards countless names quietly, proving some folks take family reunions extremely seriously. 45. The world's largest underground marble quarry hides inside a Vermont mountain at Danby, carving out gorgeous stone from deep within the rock. Instead of digging down into a pit, workers tunneled sideways into the mountain, slicing out enormous blocks of pristine marble. This fancy stone became monuments, memorials, and grand buildings across the whole country. Miners worked in a cold, echoing cathedral of white stone, hauling out slabs heavier than trucks. The quarry just kept going deeper into the hill. Today, the famous marble still ships out worldwide, while the giant underground rooms sit like a frozen palace carved by very determined people. 46. A secret government bunker hides inside a Virginia mountain called Mount Weather, built so leaders could keep running the country while everyone else panics. Tucked into the Blue Ridge, this mysterious complex was designed for top officials to hunker down during a nuclear nightmare. It supposedly has offices, beds, and everything needed to govern from underground. The public barely knows what is really inside, which only makes folks more curious and nervous. Officials stay tight-lipped about the whole spooky operation. Today, Mount Weather sits quietly in the hills, the secret backup headquarters where America plans to hide its bosses if everything goes terribly wrong. 47. Radioactive tunnels at the Hanford nuclear site in Washington once stored some of the nastiest leftovers from building America's atomic bombs. During the rush to make nuclear weapons, workers stashed dangerously hot waste inside the Purex tunnels, then sealed them up tight. The stuff inside is so radioactive that nobody can casually wander in for a peek. Years later, part of a tunnel actually collapsed, sending officials into a serious panic. Crews scrambled to cover the hole before anything leaked out. Today, these glowing hot tunnels sit carefully watched, a creepy reminder that America's atomic age left behind some very spicy underground souvenirs. 48. Entire towns in West Virginia sit on top of abandoned coal mines, with old tunnels webbing the ground like nervous Swiss cheese. For generations, miners crawled into these dark passages, hauling out the coal that powered the nation while risking their lives daily. When the mines closed, the tunnels stayed behind, slowly flooding and crumbling underground. Sometimes the empty mines catch fire below and burn for years, smoking eerily beneath the surface. Folks upstairs live their lives over this hidden honeycomb of history. Today, the forgotten coal tunnels still lurk below, quietly reminding everyone that whole communities were built on backbreaking underground work. 49. Old beer caves hide beneath Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where brewers once stored their precious lager long before refrigerators existed. Back in the day, famous beer makers like Miller and Pabst dug cool underground tunnels to age their brew at just the right chilly temperature. Workers rolled barrels down into the dark caves, letting time and cold work their tasty magic. These tunnels basically built Milwaukee's whole proud beer reputation. Once refrigeration arrived, the caves got abandoned and mostly forgotten. Today, some old lagering tunnels still survive below the city, silent reminders of the days when keeping beer cold required digging a whole secret underground basement. 50. The creepiest room in the Wyoming frontier prison at Rawlins was the underground death house, where the worst inmates met their grim final moments. This rough old prison locked up dangerous criminals in cold, miserable cells with barely any comfort. Down in the gloomy depths, the prison carried out executions using methods that would make anyone shudder. Inmates lived in constant fear of ending up in that dreaded underground chamber. The whole place felt harsh, freezing, and genuinely terrifying. Today, visitors tour the abandoned prison and its spooky death house, shivering through the dark halls while guides happily share every grisly, hair-raising detail. 51. Buried beneath San Francisco's fancy financial district lie dozens of old gold rush ships, frozen forever under the skyscrapers. When gold fever hit California, sailors abandoned their ships in the bay and sprinted off to find treasure. So many boats piled up empty that folks just filled them with dirt and built the growing city right on top. Over time, the shoreline expanded and the rotting ships got swallowed by land. Now and then, construction crews dig down and bump into a buried wooden hull. Today, rich office workers sip lattes high above forgotten ships, completely unaware they are working over a drowned harbor. 52. A gorgeous abandoned subway station hides beneath New York City Hall, looking far too fancy for a place nobody uses anymore. When it opened, this station dazzled riders with curved tile arches, glowing skylights, and elegant chandeliers fit for royalty. Sadly, the beautiful curved platform could not fit newer, longer trains, so the city quietly shut it down. The stunning station just sat there in the dark, gathering dust and forgotten glamour. For decades, it stayed sealed off and secret. Today, lucky tour groups occasionally visit the elegant ghost station, gawking at the dazzling architecture wasted on a stop the city basically ghosted. 53. River pirates in the 1790s used a creepy Ohio River cave in Illinois called Cave in Rock to rob and terrorize unlucky travelers. Bandits hid inside this giant stone mouth, watching boats drift past with goods, money, and clueless passengers. They would lure or ambush victims, snatch their stuff, and sometimes make people vanish entirely. The cave became a notorious den of outlaws, gamblers, and very bad decisions. Travelers dreaded floating past that shadowy opening in the cliff. Today, the cave is a peaceful state park where families picnic happily, blissfully unaware they are relaxing inside history's favorite riverside robbery headquarters. 54. A daring escape tunnel beneath Eastern State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania let a group of inmates briefly taste freedom in 1945. Prisoners secretly dug for over a year, scooping out dirt and hiding the evidence like sneaky underground moles. The tunnel snaked under the thick prison walls until 12 men finally crawled out into the city. Their freedom did not last long, since most got caught almost immediately, looking filthy and exhausted. One famous bank robber barely enjoyed his great escape before recapture. Today, visitors tour the spooky abandoned prison, peering at the legendary tunnel that proved patience plus dirt occasionally beats solid stone walls. 55. The wealthy Lemp family built a secret underground auditorium and even a swimming pool in the caves below their St. Louis, Missouri mansion. These rich beer barons owned natural caves under their property and decided to throw fancy underground parties down there. They added a theater, a pool, and bizarre cave luxury most folks could only dream about. Sadly, the family suffered tragedy after tragedy, and several Lemps met very sad ends inside the gloomy mansion. The cave fun could not outrun the heartbreak. Today, the eerie caves and haunted mansion attract ghost hunters, who whisper about the doomed family's strange underground playground. 56. Old riverfront tunnels and cellars hide beneath Savannah, Georgia, including a creepy passage linked to the legendary Pirate's House. Sailors and pirates once drank in this rowdy tavern near the water, getting dangerously rowdy and dangerously drunk. Legend says unlucky men got knocked out and dragged through secret tunnels down to waiting ships, waking up as forced sailors. The damp passages supposedly moved kidnapped victims straight to the harbor. Whether every tale is true, the spooky reputation stuck hard. Today, diners eat at the Pirate's House, hearing chilling stories while side-eyeing the old tunnel, hoping nobody plans to ship them off mid-meal. 57. Florida's springs hide a flooded underwater maze of caves so spectacular that divers crown the state the cave diving capital of the country. Crystal clear water fills endless twisting tunnels deep below the surface, glowing an unreal blue. Brave divers squeeze into these submerged passages, exploring a silent world few humans ever witness. It is breathtaking and seriously dangerous, since getting lost down there can turn deadly fast. Experienced adventurers respect the caves while beginners are firmly warned to stay out. Today, thrill-seeking divers keep plunging into Florida's hidden underwater labyrinth, chasing beauty in a flooded world that does not forgive careless mistakes. 58. The Hoosac Tunnel in North Adams, Massachusetts, earned the grim nickname the Bloody Pit after construction killed nearly 200 workers. Crews spent decades blasting through stubborn mountain rock, suffering explosions, floods, and horrible accidents along the way. So many men died that workers started whispering the tunnel was cursed and haunted. Legend says ghostly voices and strange lights still spook anyone brave enough to linger inside. The tunnel eventually opened for trains, paid for in tragedy. Today, trains still rumble through the dark passage while ghost hunters creep around outside, swearing the restless spirits of the Bloody Pit never truly clocked out. 59. Spooky tunnels snake beneath the abandoned Eloise Asylum complex in Westland, Michigan, where countless patients once lived in a grim institutional world. This sprawling place housed the mentally ill, the poor, and the sick, growing into its own creepy underground connected city. Workers used the tunnels to move supplies, patients, and bodies between buildings, away from prying eyes. Over the years, Eloise gained a dark reputation for sadness and suffering within its walls. Eventually, it closed, leaving haunting ruins behind. Today, ghost hunters explore the leftover buildings and tunnels, swapping chilling stories about the troubled souls who never quite found peace there. 60. A secret military fortress sits buried deep inside Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, built to survive a direct nuclear blast. The famous NORAD complex hides behind enormous blast doors, watching the skies for incoming missiles and threats around the clock. Engineers carved an entire command center into solid granite, mounting buildings on giant springs to absorb shockwaves. Soldiers work deep underground, monitoring the whole continent from inside a literal mountain. It is basically a real-life supervillain lair, except the good guys run it. Today, the mountain stronghold keeps silently guarding America, ready to slam its giant doors shut if the world ever goes sideways. 61. A massive salt mine sits beneath Avery Island in Louisiana, the same place that makes the famous fiery Tabasco sauce. Workers dug deep into a giant underground salt dome, hauling out the salty treasure for decades. Then came one truly unforgettable disaster at nearby Lake Peigneur, when a drilling crew accidentally punched a hole straight into the mine below. The whole lake drained into the mine like a colossal bathtub, swallowing boats, trees, and a chunk of land in a roaring whirlpool. Nobody died, miraculously. Today, folks still talk about the day a lake vanished down a hole into a salt mine. 62. The Nevada test site hides spooky underground tunnels at Rainier Mesa, where America once set off nuclear bombs deep inside the earth. Scientists drilled tunnels into the rock, planted nuclear devices, and triggered explosions while standing safely far away. The blasts shook the ground, melted rock, and left behind eerie radioactive caverns nobody should casually wander into. Workers studied the aftermath, measuring just how much power these terrifying weapons unleashed. The whole desert became a giant nuclear playground for very nervous experiments. Today, the contaminated tunnels sit sealed and watched, glowing reminders of the strange era when America tested doomsday underground for practice. 63. A whole buried neighborhood hides beneath Pioneer Square in Seattle, Washington, where old storefronts sit frozen below the modern sidewalks. After a giant fire wrecked the city, planners decided to rebuild the streets one level higher to fix flooding and sewage nightmares. That left the original shops and walkways trapped underground in the dark. For years, people forgot the buried storefronts existed down there. Eventually, folks rediscovered the eerie, sunken streets and opened them for tours. Today, visitors wander Seattle's underground, peering at dusty old windows and ghostly storefronts, walking the exact streets their ancestors strolled before the city, literally rose above them. 64. A giant dry cave near the Grand Canyon in Arizona got stocked as a Cold War fallout shelter, just in case the world ended. The Grand Canyon caverns sit deep and bone-dry underground, so officials figured they made a perfect bunker for surviving a nuclear nightmare. They stuffed the cave with food, water, and supplies for hundreds of frightened people. Thankfully, nobody ever needed to hunker down there. The decades-old emergency rations still sit in the cave, looking gloriously expired. Today, tourists ride elevators down to explore the massive dry cavern, snacking on snacks far fresher than the ancient apocalypse supplies waiting nearby. 65. A gigantic former limestone mine sprawls beneath Louisville, Kentucky, transformed into a wild underground playground called the Mega Cavern. After miners carved out tons of rock, the enormous empty space found a brand new life full of fun. Now folks zip through the dark on underground bike trails, soar across zip lines, and ride bumpy aerial ropes courses below the city. During the holidays, the cavern fills with millions of twinkling lights for a famous drive-through show. People literally drive their cars deep underground for the spectacle. Today, the Mega Cavern proves an old mine can retire and somehow become way cooler than before. 66. A hand-dug tunnel called the Paw Paw Tunnel cuts through a Maryland mountain, built so canal boats could skip a wildly twisty stretch of river. Workers spent years carving through solid rock, laying millions of bricks to line the long, dark passage. The project ran wildly over budget and took forever, testing everyone's patience and sanity. Mule-pulled canal boats finally drifted through the spooky tunnel, guided along a narrow towpath in the gloom. The canal era eventually faded away. Today, hikers walk the same shadowy tunnel, fumbling with flashlights and marveling that folks dug this whole thing just to avoid a curvy river. 67. Secret underground fuel tanks hide inside Red Hill above Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, built during World War II to fuel the entire Pacific Fleet. Engineers carved enormous tanks deep into the mountain, hiding millions of gallons of fuel safe from enemy bombs. The whole hidden system was an incredible feat, tucked invisibly inside solid rock. Sadly, decades later, the aging tanks leaked fuel into the water supply, sparking a serious modern crisis. Folks living nearby got sick, and outrage spread fast. Today, the troubled tanks are being shut down, proving that hiding a fuel mountain underground works great until it suddenly does not. 68. A frozen tunnel near Fairbanks, Alaska, lets scientists walk straight through Ice Age permafrost, surrounded by ancient frozen dirt and bones. The CRREL permafrost tunnel bores into ground that has stayed frozen for tens of thousands of years, preserving a chilly slice of prehistory. Inside, researchers spot frozen mammoth bones, ancient plants, and dirt that smells genuinely terrible after thawing slightly. It is basically a time machine carved into icy mud. Scientists study the frozen walls to understand the deep past and the warming future. Today, brave visitors tour the eerie cold tunnel, gawking at Ice Age leftovers locked in the frozen gloom. 69. A cathedral-like abandoned reservoir hides beneath Houston, Texas, called the Buffalo Bayou Cistern, full of towering columns and ghostly echoes. The city built this massive underground water tank long ago, with hundreds of slender pillars holding up the roof. After it sprang a leak, the cistern got drained and forgotten for years in the dark. Eventually, folks rediscovered the stunning space and realized it looked like an eerie underground temple. The echoes inside last for an absurdly long time. Today, visitors tour the haunting cistern, whispering into the darkness and gawking at the gorgeous forgotten waterworks that accidentally became one of Houston's coolest secrets. 70. Ancient lava tubes hide beneath Central Oregon near Bend, including the famous Lava River cave carved by rivers of molten rock long ago. When volcanoes erupted ages back, flowing lava cooled on the outside while still rushing inside, leaving hollow stone tunnels behind. These dark, chilly caves stretch for over a mile underground, perfectly preserved like nature's secret hallways. Explorers wander deep inside with lanterns, shivering in the cold volcanic gloom. There is no light, no warmth, just smooth stone shaped by fire. Today, adventurers hike through the lava tube, awed that fierce molten chaos accidentally built them such a perfectly spooky tunnel. 71. A massive secret bunker hides beneath the fancy Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia, built to shelter the entire United States Congress during a nuclear war. While rich guests vacationed upstairs, a hidden underground fortress waited below, stocked with beds, supplies, and a whole secret government hideout. For decades, the bunker stayed a total secret, disguised behind the glamorous hotel. Officials planned to rush Congress here if disaster ever struck. Then a reporter exposed the whole thing, blowing the cover wide open. Today, curious tourists tour the once secret bunker, gawking at the giant blast doors and the wild plan to hide Congress underground. And there you have it, 71 hidden tunnels and underground secrets buried right beneath America, where gangsters, ghosts, gold, and very nervous government officials all decided the best stuff belongs underground. So now we gotta ask you, which one of these creepy secret spots would you actually be brave enough to climb down into? Drop your answer in the comments, because we read every single one and we love a fellow underground weirdo. If this video blew your mind even a little, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next deep dive here on Dumbest Things. Stay curious, stay weird, and we will see you in the next one.